webinar is to show you 3 really awesome tools that are going to help you accelerate your sales process, help you close more deals, and make more money. There's still some folks jumping on the webinar here, and it is a very exciting webinar today, so I want to make sure that everyone has the opportunity to listen in. And then while we're waiting, again, if you can hear me, if you wouldn't mind just letting me know by sending a quick chat through the question box there, and that way I know that my headset's working properly. Okay, perfect. I got that confirmation. We'll go ahead and get started here in just about another minute, and just stand by. And I guess I should also confirm that folks can see my screen. I got one message saying that they could not, so hopefully that's not happening for anyone else. So another confirmation request, if you could let me know that you can see my screen. You should see a slide here that says the top 3 tech tools for prospecting success. Okay, cool. So everybody can see. Awesome. All right, let's go ahead and get started here. The purpose of today's webinar, we host these webinars about once or twice a month, and it's usually you know, we talk about ProspectNow and, you know, additional techniques for commercial real estate brokers to, you know, get more listings or make more cold calls. And what I wanted to kind of do for our audience today is introduce some of the companies that we work with, and in some cases that we use internally to help our own sales process, and have some folks from those companies kind of talk to you about what their tools do. These are some really awesome tools. And you know, I was kind of doing some reading and some research this week, you know, in preparation for this webinar, and you know, it really boils down, when it comes to technology, boils down to one simple question. You know, you would not ask a contractor to build a house with a shovel, a hammer, you know, and a screwdriver, right? You'd want to make sure, especially if it's your house getting built, you want to make sure that they're using, you know, backhoes, nail guns, power drills, you know, power tools. And so, you know, the industry equivalent for us are, you know, a CRM, a database, and you know, email acceleration. And so these are the power tools that we can use in our industry to make more money, because at the end of the day, you know, that's what we're doing this for, right? We're not doing it for our health. We're doing it to earn a living, you know, keep that economy churning, and you know, take care of our family. So, you know, the tools we're going to talk about today are very unique. Like I mentioned, we actually use some of these tools internally at ProspectNow, and they've been very successful. So I'm really excited to have on the webinar today Ryan and Tim. You know, Ryan was with REThink and Tim is with Yesware. And what I'd like to do is just kind of at this point turn over the presentation to Tim Song from Yesware and have him talk about how their email for salespeople application can help you, you know, with your prospecting efforts. So Tim, welcome to the webinar, and please proceed with the information about Yesware. And I'm going to make you a presenter right now. Just give me 1 second on that. All right. Tim, are you? Okay, perfect. And Tim, I don't know if we can hear you. I think you may need to enter the audio pin. We can see your screen, but I don't think we can hear you. Stand by, folks. Let me send Tim a quick chat here. And Ryan, are you there?
I am, yes,
Okay,
sir.
cool. Well, yeah, I think Tim just needs to put in the audio pin. I don't know if he can hear me, but I just sent him a chat. I guess while we're waiting, I'll I'll tell you, Yesware is a tool that we use at Prospect Now, and it's really cool. He seems to be going through his slideshow, so I don't think he can hear me. Hang on, folks. Sorry about that. Sorry, folks. I apologize. We might um, have to. I'm emailing Tim right now, but we use Yesware internally, and it's a really cool tool for tracking when people have opened your email. So from a sales perspective, being able to call somebody when you're on their mind is hugely important. And I can't tell you, when I was on the sales team here at Prospect Now, I closed a ton of deals just because I knew, somebody had opened my email. They were, probably looking at it right then, and that's when I gave them a call. And they'd say, "Oh, Adam, I was just looking at your email," and and I'd be able to say, "Wow, a what a coincidence, right?" But as long as I have you on the phone, are you ready to get signed up? And it was a really cool experience, and so that's kind of why I'd invited Tim and Yesware to be a part of today's webinar, because they have a really cool product, very easy to use, and this slideshow looks great. I wish we could hear him, but yeah, we're working on that right now. So let me do this. I'm going to do this. So in the interest of time, I'm going to actually make him not a presenter, and I'm going to turn the floor over to Ryan from REThink, and have him go over REThink, and then I'll get in touch with Tim offline. So Ryan, oh, hold on, what's going on? This is kind of funny. All right, sorry about that, folks. Ryan, I'm going to make you the presenter now. So if you want to share your screen and tell us about REThink and its CRM capabilities, that would be great. So,
Yeah, absolutely.
all right. So I just sent that over to you.
Okay, great. So once again, thanks everybody, and thanks Adam for allowing me to speak at today's webinar. My name is Ryan, as he mentioned, and I am an account executive here at REThink CRM. Basically what REThink CRM is your bottom line database to manage everything, every aspect of your business. So not only just your contacts, but your properties, your listings, your leases, all of the above. It's kind of a one-stop shop to manage all of that. So just a little bit about us as a company. We're growing extremely fast. We actually made Inc. 500's fastest growing companies this year, and we negotiated the largest Salesforce deal of 2013 when we brought on one of the largest residential real estate firms actually in the world. So that put us over the 100,000 user mark worldwide. Really gave us some runway to innovate our product and continue to make improvements. So we're constantly improving our product to make it even better. And we definitely hope to bring some of you guys on and help you ramp up your business. And in the end, it's all about making money. So we can definitely help you guys do that. Some of the benefits of using REThink with ProspectNow. So ProspectNow serves as your database, for all of these leads and prospects that you can generate to help you be successful in business. And you can actually store these leads and prospects that you generate directly into the REThink database. The importing process is extremely simple, and this will allow you to not only have all of the information about these contacts and prospects, but you can also track all of the communication and correspondence that you have with each individual contact, as well as set up automated reminders for follow-ups, automatically assign tasks to you or different brokers within the system. And like I mentioned, it's an infrastructure for every aspect of your business. All of your properties, leases, transaction management can all be handled from within REThink. These are some of the commercial brokerages that we've partnered with. And we definitely hope, like I said, to add some of you guys to this mix and help you guys earn some more money and increase business. So I'm going to jump into the product tour now. So this is going to be your homepage of REThink. This is going to be where you kind of get a snapshot into your business. So all of your tasks are going to be displayed here. Hot links to take you directly to any place in the system, integration with social media. We can see the tasks for the day here. This is usually the first place I go every time I log into the system. REThink sits on a relational database, so you can very easily relate objects to other objects within the system. So for example, we can see some tasks that we have here. We can see which of our contacts they're related to, as well as the companies that some of those contacts work for. The dashboard is going to be a compilation of 3 reports that you choose that give you more insight into your business and that you want displayed on your homepage. This is all customizable. These are just some examples of reports that brokers find useful. So I have here a breakdown of my sale listings by status, lease listings by status, and then I'm tracking my sale commissions here. As I mentioned, this is all completely customizable, so any reports that you think would be most beneficial to you and your business can be displayed here. REThink also offers complete calendar and email integration, so whether you use Outlook or Google Calendar or whatever calendar client you're using, we can integrate that here. So I'm going to jump over to the Contacts tab now, and this is where a tool like ProspectNow comes in. So let's say that we set up our ProspectNow import, and we import a handful of these leads that we want to prospect to. So I've actually set up a view that just for my ProspectNow leads that I'm going to go to now. You can categorize your contacts however you would like. So this is going to bring up all of the ProspectNow contacts that I have. I can see some overall information on them here, but I can also hop into any contact record to get more information on that contact. So I'm going to hop into Mark Benioff's contact record here. The contact record stores as a sort of profile page for your contact. So you have all of your basic information on the contact here. This is all completely customizable. So if there's certain fields you would like to add to track things that aren't displayed here, you can absolutely do that, whether it be anniversary dates or their spouse's name or whatever information that may not be normal, basic information that is here. You can customize fields and remove fields and edit layouts and all of that very simply. At the bottom of every contact record is going to be where all of the correspondence is stored. Everything that is in our system that is related to this contact will be stored at the bottom of their contact record. So we can see any properties that Mark owns that is in our system, the property information, and I can actually hop directly into this property, which I'll do in a second. We can see the activity correspondence here. So any open activities, this is going to be tasks that we have assigned in the system to ourselves or other brokers that are using the system with us that are related to Mark Benioff. So these are tasks that have not been completed. We can see the date that these tasks are due. And then below that is going to be the activity history. So this is going to be where our completed tasks go. Any emails that we send can automatically be added to this contact record. We can log a call if we talk to Mark on the phone and we want to take some call notes. All of the correspondence that you have over time will be stored here. And this is great because it really makes sure that nothing slips through the cracks. If you go a couple months without talking to a contact and they reach back out to you, you can pick up right where you left off and kind of see where that communication history left off and the things you have talked about in the past without having to sift through a bunch of emails and go through maybe if you use Evernote or whatever note system you work. This can all take care of that for you. So if we jump into a property record, so I'm going to jump into this property record that Mark owns here. Property records are very similar to contact records. All of the property information is here. Once again, this is customizable. So if there's certain building features that you want to track or any information at all, you can add fields to keep track of that information. Just like on the contact record, the property record is going to have correspondence at the bottom as well. So any spaces, maybe there's multiple units within this property for rent or for sale, we can keep track of those in the Spaces tab here. Any inquiries that we have on the property, so it's just a way to track the level of interest and people contacting you about the property. So we can, if we want to submit a new inquiry, we give it an inquiry name, we relate it to the contact that called us about the property. We can see the property listing that it's related to, and then the ranking gauge on this side. Offers, any offers that have been put in on the property are going to be stored here. We can see who the prospective buyer is, the offered amount, as well as the offered status and date that it was entered. Any listings and leases that are related to this property will be stored here, as well as comps and transactions. So really the end all is, REThink sits on a relational database, and it allows you to not only store all of your contact, property, transaction information, but it allows you to relate those objects to one another so that it helps keep you organized and, like I said, make sure nothing slips through the cracks. That's just kind of a high-level overview of the features of REThink and kind of gives you an idea of how it would work with an application like ProspectNow. I'm more than happy to give you guys more of a personal demo if you are interested. This is my email address here, ryan@thinktechlabs.com, and I imagine we'll send out some sort of follow-up
Yes.
after this webinar so you guys have all that information handy. But I definitely hope to hear from you guys. Like I said, more than happy to set up demos, answer any questions, see if it might be a fit for you and your brokerage.
And Ryan, I know we looked at the commercial CRM. You guys do have a residential version as well. Is that right?
Yes, sir. That's absolutely correct. We
Awesome.
do offer platforms for both industries.
Perfect, because I know we do have residential folks on the line today. All right,
Absolutely.
so thanks so much, Ryan. That I think REThink's a great tool. I actually have a trial account that I was playing around with earlier today, and it was really, really, I really enjoyed it. So I know, if you are looking for a CRM solution, get in touch with Ryan, and he'll make sure that you get the best in class. All right, and Ryan, if you want to, I don't know if you can see that question, but Ram is asking if this is Mac compatible.
Absolutely. So REThink is cloud-based. So any computer, desktop, laptop, it does not matter at all. As long as you have access to an internet browser, you access all of it through the internet. So the database is completely stored in the cloud. It doesn't matter what operating system you're on. And it is worth mentioning on that note that REThink does come with a mobile application. So on any mobile device or tablet, you have access to your entire CRM database as well.
Great, and I see a few other questions coming in, Ryan. So in the interest of time, I'm going to have these questions emailed to you specific to REThink, and then you'll be able to follow up with the askers of those questions after the webinar. Is that okay?
Perfect.
Great. Well, thanks very much for sharing that. Again, very valuable tool, and I believe that Tim from Yesware is on the line. Do we have you, Tim? Were you able to connect successfully?
Yep, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. All right, great. So I'm going to make you the presenter, Tim, and Tim's going to talk about Yesware. As I mentioned, this is a tool that we use internally at ProspectNow. It's really cool, and I think you'll be really impressed. So without further ado, let me go ahead and make you the presenter here. There we are. All right. So everybody, Tim Song from Yesware.
Okay, thanks, Adam. Apologies, everyone, for cutting out. Had some difficulty connecting over the phone. So I'll make it brief, just so you guys get a quick overview of what Yesware has to offer. I'm not sure what you heard or didn't before, but Yesware basically gives you visibility into what your prospects are doing after you send an email. So in my right within my Gmail window, or coming soon to Outlook also, is the ability to see who opened your message, when they opened your message, if someone clicks on a link in your message or opens up an attachment, say an order form that you sent out or a proposal, perhaps it's information on a house that just got on the market you really want to connect about. This is something that you can use to track that and then prioritize your following prospecting. So whether you're prospecting on the front end or on the later end of a sale, just trying to keep track of who you're in touch with, who should be the most important. You can do that from right within your Gmail window. The thing that is great about Yesware is that it lives right where you live. and you're able to access things like templates, which is our most popular feature, by accessing it straight from within your Compose window. You can select messaging that you consistently have to use day in and day out and access it quickly. So say, for instance, this template has a subject line, has a message body that I like to use consistently when following up after a voicemail. Instead of typing this out every time, I can access this through my templates. I can say, you can add any text that you want and then send this email off. The great thing about how Yesware works is not only does it allow you to send emails more quickly, but this will actually sync over into your CRM. So if you have Salesforce and if you have REThink, this is actually going to get pushed over into your contacts in Salesforce automatically. So once you set this up, all this syncing happens without any additional effort. So if you saw the first slide that I showed, 35% of the salesperson's day is the only time that they get to spend selling. So what we're trying to do is increase that percentage, allow you to spend more time selling, let this sync happen automatically so your information is getting pushed over into Salesforce for you. Sending out consistent emails is as easy as clicking twice. The other feature that I wanted to highlight quickly in the interest of time is the ability to send mail merges. So mail merges is a prospecting salesperson's dream. You are actually able to schedule a large list of customers or prospects, or maybe it's people that you want to stay in touch with. Add a template, just like I showed you before, and then send this off to up to 200 people at a time. This is great because you're able to expand your reach, like we said, spend more time selling, less time sending out individual emails to people. We've taken this to even the next level and given you the ability to add stages. And what stages are the ability to add follow-up emails to go out automatically. So I can send an email out, but I can also send a follow-up email. I can schedule a follow-up email to go out if that person hasn't responded or perhaps hasn't opened my email from the previous stage. Again, you can add a template and send this out and also ensure that it gets sent over to your Salesforce CRM if you have it. You can send these out independently. You do not need a CRM. All you need is a Gmail account to send these all out. You can add up to 10 stages at this point. I've never added more than 7, but you can add up to 10 and ensure that all that information is synced over with Salesforce, and then you also get the prioritization tools, being able to see of all those emails, who opened them up, who accessed them, and even now the ability to call them and follow up with them if they open up an email or click on a link with Yesware's Click to Call. So you're able to see if someone, let's say, opened up an attachment that you sent over. You're able to click, access their information if you have Salesforce, and give them a call directly from your Gmail inbox. Thus far, giving you sort of full cycle control over the calls, the emails, and any collateral that you're going to send over. My email is listed here. I also have Twitter. If anybody likes to tweet, you can tweet at me at @TimSong. And I think my information will be included in the follow-up messaging after this webinar.
That's correct. And Tim, couple of questions from the attendees today. Outlook access. Now, you guys, somebody's asking when that's available, and I believe you already have Outlook access. Am I correct?
Correct. So we originally were exclusively in Gmail, but have now expanded to Outlook. We recognize a lot of people still use Outlook, so we'd like to make sure that they have access to the same tools. Right now we have an Outlook beta. It's an open beta, so if you visit Yesware.com or visit the link that's going to get sent out, you'll be able to access the Outlook beta and try it out. The functionality isn't at 100%, so everything I showed you today is available in Gmail, but I would say 60% of it is available in Outlook. The remainder of Q4, we'll be rolling out the rest of the features. So by the end of the year, probably by November, you're going to have access to all those features.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And then there's a couple of questions that are kind of in the same vein, Tim, about the differences and compatibilities with services like Constant Contact and MailChimp.
So our service was built. We get that question a lot because there's definitely a lot of overlap in core functionality, like sending an email to a group of people. But our solution was designed for the people that are on this webinar, salespeople, real estate agents, in any industry, any type of salesperson that is trying to close more deals. So that one feature that allows you to send out multiple emails is different because it actually comes straight from your email inbox. It doesn't come from a server where you're blasting 10,000 people. It's going to come off as a one-on-one email because it is a one-on-one email. Yesware is actually loading each email and sending them out through your personal email account so that each person gets a personalized email.
All right. Well, thank you, Tim, for sharing more about Yesware. I think, I've had nothing but great experience using Yesware. Like I mentioned, when I was in the sales team here at ProspectNow, a lot of my deals were closed because I knew who was opening my email and when they were opening it. Unfortunately, I transitioned out of the sales team right around the same time you guys came out with the mail merge and the drip mail features, so I didn't get to take as much advantage of those awesome features. So, great. Well, Ryan and Tim, thank you so much for sharing that information about REThink and Yesware. Again, my name's Adam, and I'm on the operations team here at ProspectNow. I'm going to be talking about our service, ProspectNow.com. Let me just get back here and get my screen up on the make me a presenter. Okay, so you should be able to see my screen here. So I want to share with you a little bit about ProspectNow, our history, and kind of the robust database service that we offer. We've been around since 2008. We're headquartered about 10 minutes away from Google here in Los Altos, California. The gentleman who started our company is a guy by the name of Steve Wayne, and he was formerly a commercial real estate broker. And so the challenge he had was, due to the disparity of data when it comes specifically to commercial real estate, because you got LLCs and corporations and trusts, and it's just very difficult to identify who the owner is. He started ProspectNow, and we received a round of funding from Dennis DeAndre, who is famous for starting LoopNet.com. We've got a number of customers from all different a number of different types of firms and a number of different types of industries. And the question that our service answers is, how can we get more meetings with the actual decision makers and the owners and tenants who want to do deals? So as I mentioned, the challenge that Steve, the founder of our company, found was that there was so much data and it was spread out among so many different sources that for him to figure out who owned a building and the best phone number to reach them at, it took him 3-4 minutes to figure out who owned one building, and that's with a lot of tools in place. It wasn't like he didn't have any resources, but even with the resources he did have, it was still kind of, I imagine this is what he looked like, this guy tearing his hair out here, because he was having to go through all these different data sets to figure out, just the answer to a simple question. And the reason it was so difficult is because of the process. The traditional process is very time-consuming. I'm trying to get to the next slide there so you can see. But, this is kind of an example of what you'd need to do. You'd have to search for a property address, and typically you'd find out that it's owned by an LLC or some other, obscuring entity. So then you do some research into that, and you figure out, hopefully you figure out who the LLC partner or officer is. And, a lot of times you might find a registered agent or an organizer of the LLC, and that's not who you want to talk to. But let's say you got lucky and you found the managing partner for an LLC. Then you've got to get their phone number, right? And then you have to call the phone number, make sure it works, add it to a spreadsheet, and and put it in your CRM. And then you have to do that 1,200 times, because calling one person is not enough to get a meeting. You're trying to build a database, and that takes those actions have to be repeated about 1,200 times before you build up a sizable database. So Steve often mentions that the first 6 months of his career as a commercial real estate agent were spent doing what you see here. And then, ironically enough, his very first listing, he had spent 6 months building this database in Santa Clara County, and 6 months later, his first listing was in Alameda County, an area where he had no database at all. So, kind of an exercise in futility, if you will. And so, based on those experiences, Steve created a service called ProspectNow. And so, what our database does is it comprises and collapses about 14, 15 different data sets, and standardizes and normalizes all of that information, cross-references it with phone numbers from 9 different sources, and puts them all into one interface. So these are all the different data pools that we're collecting from. We put them into a property database, bounce that off of phone number information and LLC data, and that format, it goes into ProspectNow. And what's really cool is that you're able to utilize ProspectNow, and I'll show you this in just a minute, to find qualified prospects, and then from there you can, after you've identified that, there's someone you'd want to have in your database, you can put them into your, your CRM. You can, whether it's an Excel spreadsheet, whether you use REThink or some other platform such as Salesforce, with little to no effort. So, at the end of the day, it's a product for sales acceleration. CRM is kind of the foundation, and being able to accelerate, using technology, your sales process, ultimately is what is leading our customers to be able to close more deals, higher dollar amount deals, in less time. So, very quick demo here. Let me open up my internet browser, and I just want to kind of give you a quick snapshot of how it works. Okay, I'm going to do that later. Log out here. So let's say that you just identified a listing, and you wanted, or maybe let's say you just closed a deal, and you want to contact all the other property owners within a mile of that address to see if they want to sell their similar property. So I'm going to give you an example of how ProspectNow can take that process and basically automate it for you. So we have this feature called the guided search, which allows you to build lists of properties from scratch in addition to other search options. So let's say I'm going to go in here. I want to build a list of properties. I'm trying to find sellers. We'll say, well, I don't know any specific addresses in San Bernardino County, so I got to stay close to home. So we'll say Santa Clara County. I want to search a radius around an address. We can go up to 3 miles around the address. I'm going to just keep it 1 mile. I'm going to use our office address here in Los Altos, California. And we happen to be in a commercial office building, so I want to find owners of like properties. So I'm just going to select that particular designation, and say I don't know what our square footage is off the top of my head, but let's say it's between 1,000 and 3,000 square feet, smaller office building. So now, instead of me having to do manual research for all of the 4,000 something properties that were within that mile radius, I can narrow it down to the 30 that most closely meet my criteria, and pull them up in one search result here. And I can go through and get all their phone numbers. Well, we have phone numbers for about 70% of these folks, so we can go through here, and I can click this Get Phones button. It's going to search for all of these phone numbers and pull up as many as I can. And then at this point, I'm able to contact these owners, see what we can do about getting a meeting, and And those qualified prospects, I might sync them to REThink. I'm going to be collecting their email addresses when I talk to them, so I can send them emails, track that via Yesware. And what's really cool, I'll show you this here as soon as this is done loading, is that when it comes to platforms like REThink or Salesforce, ProspectNow has a one-click synchronization. So you're able to just, click this save button over here, which I'll show you as soon as this is done. Confirm a couple things, and then it'll put that record from ProspectNow into Salesforce. So it's a very robust tool for the folks who are focused on outbound prospecting, right? There's only so much business you can generate from referrals and putting signs up and putting sending mail. At the end of the day, it takes direct phone calls to get the maximum results, and we're here to help you get those names and phone numbers for these owners as quickly as possible. So you can see all the phone numbers have been now populated. I can go and start calling these owners about their individual properties. Now let's say I speak to this person, Tufik Yesware, and I want to place them in my CRM. It's a really quick process. We have a built-in CRM, but if I'm using something like REThink, I can just click Save, check the box for Salesforce, and that encompasses the REThink product as well. And I've actually mapped it out for their property specific page. And now when I click Save, it's going to give me a couple of other options here. Maybe I called him, and now I spoke to Mr. or Mrs. Yesware, and I want to specify, I've mapped out my fields already, so I have different options available to me. Let's say that they want to, this property is not on the market. Based on my conversation with them, I can add that property to REThink and access it there in the format that Ryan showed us earlier. So it's designed to be a one-stop prospecting tool so that you can make more phone calls, talk to more building owners, and close more deals as a result. We have a number of success stories from our users, and one of the most impressive is, in 2013, last year, one of our customers, he's a guy by the name of Ken Hoff. He closed a substantial deal with ProspectNow. It's $275 million apartment portfolio. So what Ken did was he structured an arrangement with a private equity firm that was looking to acquire multifamily properties, and he basically told them, hey, I'm going to source deals for you, and you guys pay me a fee and what have you. So he used ProspectNow though to source those deals, and he happened to make a phone call to a guy, left him a voicemail, and he got a call back from this gentleman saying, hey, Ken, you called at the right time. I have a pretty sizable portfolio that I'm looking to dispose of, and it was a $275 million apartment portfolio, and that deal closed in 60 days. And Ken's a very smart guy, and I certainly don't want to I don't want you to think that ProspectNow is responsible for all of the work that went into closing that deal, but had he not had ProspectNow, it might have taken him a much longer time to find that individual, contact that individual, and it might, they say in business timing is everything, and because he was using ProspectNow, he was able to contact more people at the right time, and it netted him a pretty substantial payday. We actually hosted Ken on a webinar a few months back. And it is recorded, so if anybody's interested, send us an email, contact@prospectnow.com. We can get you a copy of that recording. It's also on our YouTube channel, which you can access from our website. And the final case study I want to share with you is one that we did internally. So we had a customer, power user of ProspectNow, and we approached him and we said, Dave, what we'd like to do is provide you basically our services, a full service model. Hang on just a second here, folks. Sorry about that. And what we are going to do is have one of our sales guys call on ProspectNow data to get you listings. And so we took this this sales rep from ProspectNow, we put them on the phones, and this data that you see here is what we found, at the end of this case study. Bear with me just a second. Looks like there's some interference on the line. I don't know if that's me or somebody else, but hopefully that's gone away now. Okay. So, if the average time spent researching a property is like 4 minutes, and we can say, and we were able to look up that same information in 1 minute, it's a 75% increase in efficiency per rep. And so with this person from ProspectNow, they were calling, about 25. They were making about 25 calls an hour, so about 75 more than they would be on average. And the metrics that we tracked showed us that it took about 56 calls for this rep to get a lead, which is an additional 6, almost 7 leads per week. And then based on the number of leads we found it took to get a listing, which is about 20, that when we extrapolated on an annual basis, our client would have received almost 17 additionals over the course of 12 months, with a close ratio of about 80%, which we're in the Bay Area, which is a great market, so that might be a little bit conservative of a close ratio. That translated to 13.5 additional deals over the course of a year, and that's just with one person making phone calls. So if you're a manager and you have several people on your team, think of this as kind of a multiplier effect. If one rep can do this, think if you had 5, 10, 15 people all in a single focus of purpose. And then with the average commission, say 2% net on an average deal size of $700K, that's an additional almost $200,000 in commission. So there is there's a bottom line benefit to utilizing ProspectNow in conjunction with the other tools that we spoke about today, Yesware and REThink. So with that, I believe that actually concludes today's webinar. What I like to do at the end of these webinars is, if you have any questions for myself or any of the other panelists, I saw a bunch of questions about how much does this cost, and I don't like to get into that on a webinar. Just because I know at ProspectNow we have different pricing plans, I know Yesware and REThink operate in the same manner. So if you do have a question about cost, you will receive a correspondence or a phone call from either somebody at ProspectNow, Ryan, or Tim. So any questions not pertaining to cost, whether it be about ProspectNow, REThink, or Yesware, please send them in, and myself and the other panelists will be happy to answer them for you. Hey, Ryan, Maria is asking if REThink has anything for property managers.
Yeah, absolutely. So we have the ability to integrate with the Salesforce App Exchange. The Salesforce App Exchange is kind of like an app store, like the iTunes App Store for your iPhone. Basically, there's over 2,300 apps on the App Exchange, anything from Dropbox to DocuSign. There's also property management applications out there. But REThink out of the box allows for a lot of property management to be done within the system. And I'd be more than happy to go into that a little bit more if she wanted to reach out to me personally and had any specific questions.
Great. Great. And Maria also asked a question about ProspectNow. How reliable and accurate are the phone numbers? So we have a hit rate of about 65%, Maria, and we are updating the data on a monthly basis. So it does stay very current, very accurate. Another question for you, Ryan, from Shannon. Is REThink the same as or similar to Wise Agent?
Same idea in the sense that they both allow you to manage contacts. REThink is going to be much more robust than Wise Agent, and then also, being positioned on top of Salesforce, which Forbes has ranked not only the #1 CRM in the entire world, but the most innovative company in the last 3 years. It really allows for us to continue to innovate not only our product, but like I mentioned, the integration with one of or any of the 2,300 apps on the App Exchange really allows you to custom build a solution that is a one-stop shop for all of your business. So everything from property management to document management to contracts being sent out, all of that can be managed within REThink, which really sets us apart from other CRMs in the business.
Awesome. Let me see here. What else do we have? And then Ryan, Mark already left this this webinar, but he asked a good question, which I know comes up for a with us as well. Single broker plans. How does REThink manage individual licenses versus group licenses?
Yeah, so REThink is extremely scalable. We have all of the above as far as user bases go. So we have several single user brokers that just use the system independently and kind of manage their own listings, their own properties and contacts that way. And then obviously it is scalable and definitely great for team collaboration. So we have anywhere from 5, 10, 50, hundreds of brokers on the same system. It allows for collaboration. You can assign tasks to each other, see each other's contact information. If you choose to, you can share contact databases and property databases, assign tasks to each other, see calendars. So it's definitely a great collaboration tool for teams, but also very useful for just a single broker if he was looking to better manage his business.
Great, great. And I do see a question about promo codes and things of that nature. Again, that's something that I don't prefer to address on a webinar, just because I know pricing is different amongst all of these different providers. But there will be actually, so I believe Yesware for attendees of this webinar is offering a 2-month free trial to their enterprise plan, which is, I want to say that's a really good deal. So that will be coming out to you via email after the webinar, so keep your eye open for that. And then Bob's actually one of my customers. Nice to see you on the webinar, Bob. But he's asking, and I'm assuming this is a question for Ryan, if his assistant can access his data in REThink.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's a situation we run into a lot, and really it varies from broker to broker. But if you have an assistant, they don't necessarily need to pay for their own license to use the system if they're just doing data entry and task assigning and things like that. You can just assign them as a user and allow them to log in. They won't be able to have all of the same privileges as you, but they will still be able to do the data entry and manage things like that.
All right. Let me see here.
And Adam, just real quick, kind of mentioning on that last point you made about Yesware's trial, we also offer free 30-day trials of our platform. So anybody that would be interested in that, feel free to visit the website, and you just follow the link to get a free trial, and we can definitely set you up with one of those.
All right. Let me see here. There's a very long question here from Greg. I'm trying to interpret. Okay, Greg, I'm assuming that your question is for Ryan. So Ryan, Greg is asking, on the residential side, I am currently importing or simple cut and paste from REDX to my very full ACT database, which is not communicating with Outlook very well. He has about 80,000 records, which just blows up his phone if he tries to sync that beyond 1,000 or so records. So any input on that?
Yeah, definitely. REThink actually offers a direct import tool out of ACT. So it's very simple to import all of your contacts and contact data out of ACT into REThink.
All right, great. All right. Oh, here's another question for Ryan. Jack is asking if a real estate license is required for REThink use. He's an investor.
Absolutely not. Anybody who thinks that they would benefit from our platform is more than welcome to purchase a license.
Awesome. And then Shannon had asked me if ProspectNow works with Wise Agent, and I am actually not super. I don't know that I've heard of that one. So let me take a quick look, and I can probably tell you. I will say this: you are able to export a number of records from ProspectNow into a CSV file, which is kind of a universal, import file. So without knowing more about WiseAgent and how they work, I'm gonna say that it's probably not as simple to sync with WiseAgent as it is to REThink, because with REThink it's literally just, you saw me, it's just one click. And from just looking at this, I'd say, yeah, definitely it would work with WiseAgent. However, it would not be as simple as syncing to a platform like REThink. Okay. All right. Let me just take a look here. And Tom is asking a similar question with regards to client look. Same thing as a integration to WiseAgent. It would be via CSV file, so it's not going to be that one-click integration as we offer with REThink. All right, ton of questions here. I'm just trying to sort through them and make sure we address everything. Everybody wants to know how much, but yeah, folks, you will get an email after the webinar with contact information for myself as well as the other presenters. So they can contact them and they can definitely answer all of your questions about pricing. All right, I think that's it. So I'm going to go ahead and conclude today's webinar. Keep your eye out on those emails. They'll be coming out here in about an hour. And Tim, Ryan, thanks so much for being a part of today's webinar. It was a pleasure having you, and hopefully we can do this again sometime soon.
Absolutely. Thank you, Adam, and thank everybody who joined the call today.
All right. All right. Have a great rest of the day.
Thanks, guys.
Bye-bye.